made you decide to want to incorporate technology and to change your ways of teaching?
Okay. Well, I got started. It was a very slow process, as you can imagine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's sort of like the just any technology today. It started out kind of slow, and then it just seems to be growing exponentially. So my progress in it. Hold on, let me turn off my Twitter thing. It keeps going off. Okay. My progress in it actually started in 2004. I was very interested in technology, and our school was getting some model classrooms, and the principal and the media specialist picked me as one of the classroom teachers to get some stuff. So, I started with that, and then I've just kind of continued from there. And I went to NEC, which is now ISTE, when it was in New Orleans in 2004 that summer. And I went to these sessions, and they were using words that I'd never heard of. I didn't know, they were using Ning and blog and wikis and digital storytelling and all these things. And I was like, I spent 4 days going, I don't know what these people are talking about.
That's what I'm doing right now in this class.
Yeah.
This is my first semester back at school. So.
Right. So I was determined from that point to figure out, okay, what are all these words? What do you do with them? How do you go about using them? So it was a very slow process. And then, of course, when Hurricane Katrina came along in 2005, that kind of threw us off track a little bit, that year. And the next year was a little bit weird because of rebuilding and everything. I had some personal property loss that I had to take care of. But then I got back on track, and I, really went for it. And my district set up this thing where you could write a grant for a new classroom of technology. And if you got the full award, it was $15,000 worth of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they had given us a Promethean board the year before. Well, not given us. There were several of us that applied for a mini grant. So I got a Promethean board. So when this new proposal came up, I said, well, I already have a board. Can I still enter for the grant? And they said yes. And I happened to be in a classroom next door. The next door one didn't have a board. So my principal said, well, if you win the grant, we'll just move you into the next classroom over and set you up. And I went, okay. So I was one of 24 teachers to receive a grant, but I was only one of 2 teachers that received the full $15,000 grant.
That's
amazing.
So
I got the new tricked out Promethean board. I got a wireless cart of 15 netbooks, webcams, headsets, iPod, digital, all sorts of stuff.
So all the kids want to be in your class.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I said, so all the kids want to be in your class.
Wait, we're breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so, part of the problem, not the problem, but part of the reason why I got the full grant was I blogged. I think I started blogging in 2008. And, I was showing, they had a way to go and look and see what I had been doing with my students, the kind of collaborative projects I had used, had participated in, and things that I had done with my students. So they knew it wasn't one of these situations where they're going to give me $15,000 worth of equipment and it's just going to sit around and not being used.
Right.
They knew that I would use it.
Uh-huh.
So it's been quite a journey. I got to a point where I was ready to retire after 30 years. And all of this started happening, and I went, I don't want to retire. I'm enjoying what I'm doing even more than I have for my whole career. So now they can't push me out the door.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
They're so glad to have me, but, it's like, so all my friends go, thought you were retiring. I said, well, I did. I retired and I returned to work.
Came back.
Yeah. So,
I know they're glad to have you.
Yeah. So it's been wonderful. As I had a conversation with a girl just the other night on Skype. She teaches in San Antonio, and her class and my class Skyped a couple of weeks ago, and she's just now learning about all these tools that you can collaborate with. And she said, well, Paula, what do you do when your fourth graders leave you and they go into a fifth grade class where this doesn't happen? And I said, yeah, that makes it really tough. And I'm not going to lie, one of the teachers is having a real tough time this year because she's kind of new. And, with the newness of trying to get your classroom management under control anyhow, she's got pretty much my group of kids from last year that were so used to all of this technology, and she doesn't have available
Oh, wow.
all the stuff I had. So the kids are getting a little upset, and they're like, acting out and stuff, and they keep coming up to me going, I want to be back in your classroom. And I said, no, you don't. You want to be in fifth grade.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little discerning when, I do all these things. Like this is the first year I have all my kids blogging,
Uh-huh.
using kidblog.org, which I think you visited some of the blogs for them as part of your class.
Right.
And, they're not going to probably be doing this next year, and I know they're going to be disappointed. They're already asking me, are we going to be able to keep our blog? And I don't know what the answer to that is yet
Uh-huh.
because it's under my umbrella. I have to moderate it. Of course, I'm going to want my new kids coming in next year to have their own blogs. And I
Right.
teach 75 fourth graders, so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
moderating a lot of blogs.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm
If I
sure.
moderate the new group and then try to moderate any of the ones that want to keep theirs going.
Uh-huh.
So I think the deal I'm going to start with is I will moderate anybody who wants to blog at the beginning of the year, and then I'm going to try to talk their teachers into doing it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that was my other question is how easy has it been to get other teachers in your school involved in using the technology, or are there other teachers that do it?
There are, it's very difficult. The great thing about it is, um, I think every one of our classrooms now either has a Promethean board or an Elmo document camera and projection system. We were each given a laptop by our district 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So they're slowly, slowly, slowly getting on board. The ones that, they're using their Promethean board. Um, Unfortunately, some of them don't use it interactively with the students. They use it more as a presentation tool.
Uh-huh.
Instead of doing their work on a chalkboard, they're doing their lessons. They're still in front of the classroom teaching lessons, as a stand and deliver method
Uh-huh.
instead of an interactive thing. So I'm a teacher trainer at my school, and each month we have a Promethean party,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to show them how to use it more as an interactive tool instead of just a presentation tool. So it's coming.
It's coming
just
along.
slow.
Is it
But
a
nobody
lack?
else blogs. I'm sorry.
Oh, no one else in your school blogs?
There are no other teachers that blog in my school. There is one other teacher who has used Skype to connect with other classrooms. Um, there's one other teacher who has a wiki. I set up a Ning for our school when Ning was a free service.
Uh-huh.
And we did get them to join it, but they didn't. And we had a couple that would post a couple of things, but then once it went to a paid service, we ended up dropping that
Okay.
because we didn't want to pay.
Pay
We didn't
for it.
want to pay for the subscription because people weren't using it.
Right.
So, but we're getting them on board with things like we just got Brain Pop this year.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with Brain
I've
Pop?
seen that. That's really neat.
And it's I'm showing them, besides just showing the video and having the kids take the quiz, that there's a lot more you can do with it. So I'm very slowly bringing them around with that. But
Uh-huh.
it's a process, and it's just slow and steady.
Are
You
the
just got to take a little step at a time.
the students are extremely receptive to it, I would guess.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Um, if I ever have a classroom management problem, which doesn't occur very often,
Uh-huh.
but I've had to do it like twice this year. I have removed a child from computer privileges for a week.
Uh-huh.
One was because two of them got put off because they went to an inappropriate website
Uh-huh.
that they weren't supposed to be accessing within my classroom.
Uh-huh.
And two, because there was a major fight one day over whose turn it was on the netbook, and then that book almost got dropped on the floor, and I got a little irate,
Upset? Yeah.
and yeah, I was like, okay, that's it, you're off.
Uh huh.
So they were like, a whole week? I said, uh-huh, a whole week. And boy, they were so upset, and they learned. They know now, hey, if we want to use the computer and you get on Edmodo and do all these fun things,
Uh huh.
that we've got to follow the rules, just like anything else.
Anything else? What's your
But that,
favorite part of the technology, or what's your favorite, I guess, tool to use in the classroom?
probably right now this year, it changes. Each year I find something new and different to use. So this